The human brain is an incredibly complex organ that controls everything we do from breathing to thinking. It's also one of the most powerful computers in the world, capable of processing over 2 terabytes of data per second. But there's so much more to this amazing organ than meets the eye. Here are 12 incredible facts about the human brain that you won't learn anywhere else. Number 1, your brain can make new connections between neurons throughout your life. Until recently, it was thought that once you reached adulthood, your brain stopped producing new neurons. However, scientists have now discovered that this is not the case. In fact, your brain can continue to make new connections between existing neurons throughout your life. This process is called neuroplasticity, and it allows you to learn new things and adapt to changing circumstances. For example, if you learn a new language or take up a new hobby, your brain will literally change as a result of the new demands being placed on it. So never stop learning because you're only hurting yourself. No. 2, your brain produces its own painkillers. When you're in pain, your brain releases a variety of chemicals that help to alleviate the pain. One of these chemicals is endorphin, which is similar to the painkillers that doctors prescribe to patients. Endorphins are released in response to pain, stress, and even exercise. They bind to receptors in the brain that reduce the perception of pain. That's why people who exercise regularly often have a lower pain tolerance than those who don't. In addition, endorphins also improve your mood and make you feel more relaxed. No. 3, your brain can store a virtually unlimited amount of information. There are approximately 86 billion neurons in the human brain, and each neuron can store up to 1 million pieces of information. That's a lot of storage space. In fact, it's enough to store all of the books in the Library of Congress. The reason your brain can store so much information is because of the way neurons are connected. Each neuron is connected to thousands of other neurons, and the connections between neurons are constantly being made and remade. This allows your brain to be incredibly efficient at storing and retrieving information. Number 4, your brain is more active at night than during the day. Most people are most active during the hours of daylight when the sun is shining. However, your brain is actually more active at night when you're sleeping. That's because your brain needs time to rest and recharge while you sleep. During this time, your brain is working hard to process the events of the day and store them in your memory. In addition, your brain is also repairing itself during sleep. That's why it's so important to get a good night's sleep. If you don't sleep enough, your brain will eventually catch up with you, and you'll start to experience cognitive decline, mood swings, and other problems. No. 5, your brain is constantly sending signals to the rest of your body. Even when you're sitting still, your brain is constantly sending signals to the rest of your body. For example, your brain is sending signals to your muscles to keep you upright and to your heart to keep it beating. In addition, your brain is also sending signals to your glands to produce hormones and other chemicals. These signals are sent through your nervous system, which is made up of nerves that run throughout your body. Nerves are like electrical wires, and they allow your brain to communicate with the rest of your body. Number 6, your brain is very energy efficient. Despite the fact that it makes up only 2% of your body weight, your brain uses up 20% of your body's energy. That's because your brain is constantly working even when you're asleep. However, there are ways to make your brain even more energy efficient. For example, getting regular exercise can help reduce the amount of energy your brain uses. Exercise actually increases the efficiency of your neurons, which means they can send signals faster and use less energy. In addition, eating a healthy diet can also help. Eating foods that are high in antioxidants can help protect your brain from damage and keep it functioning efficiently. No. 7, your brain is responsible for giving you your sense of smell. Your sense of smell is actually one of your brain's most primitive functions. In fact, your sense of smell is so important to your brain that there is an entire part of your brain that is dedicated to processing smells. This area of the brain is called the olfactory cortex. When you inhale a scent, the molecules travel up your nose and then bind to receptors in the olfactory cortex. Your brain then interprets the signal and identifies the smell. Interestingly, everyone's olfactory cortex is slightly different, which is why some people are better at identifying smells than others. No. 8, your brain can control the amount of pain you feel. Your brain has the ability to control the amount of pain you feel. This is known as pain modulation, and it's an important part of your brain's overall function. In fact, your brain is constantly modulating pain signals. For example, if you have a paper cut, your brain will modulate the pain signals from the cut to prevent you from passing out. Pain modulation is controlled by a part of your brain called the periaqueductal gray. This area of the brain is responsible for releasing chemicals that either increase or decrease the amount of pain you feel. For example, when you're in pain, your brain will release chemicals that help you focus on the pain so that you take steps to alleviate it. However, sometimes pain modulation can go awry. This can happen if you have chronic pain or if you're under a lot of stress. When this happens, your brain may start to amplify pain signals, which can lead to chronic pain. Number 9, your brain is actually quite fragile. Despite the fact that it's one of the most powerful organs in your body, your brain is actually quite fragile. In fact, your brain can be damaged very easily. Even a mild blow to the head can cause brain damage. That's why it is so important to wear a helmet when you engage in activities that could potentially cause brain damage, such as boxing or football. Brain damage can also be caused by exposure to toxins. This is why it's important to avoid smoking and to be careful when working with chemicals. Exposure to toxins can cause your brain to develop neurodegenerative diseases, such as Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. Number 10. Your brain is constantly evolving. Your brain is constantly adapting to the world around you. This process is called neuroplasticity, and it allows your brain to change in response to new experiences. Neuroplasticity allows your brain to form new memories and to store them in your long-term memory. It also allows your brain to learn new things. In fact, neuroplasticity is essential for your brain to function properly. Without neuroplasticity, your brain would not be able to adapt to new situations or learn new information. Number 11. Your brain can influence the growth of new blood vessels. As you age, the amount of blood flow to your brain decreases. This can cause a variety of problems, including cognitive decline and an increased risk of stroke. However, your brain has the ability to influence the growth of new blood vessels in order to compensate for this decreased blood flow. Your brain does this by releasing chemicals that stimulate the growth of new blood vessels. These chemicals are called angiogenic factors. When angiogenic factors are released, they bind to receptors on the surface of endothelial cells. Endothelial cells line the inside of blood vessels, and they play a key role in the growth of new blood vessels. Once endothelial cells receive the signal from angiogenic factors, they start to multiply and form new blood vessels. This process is called angiogenesis. Number 12. Your brain plays a major role in determining your height. While genetics plays a major role in determining your height, your brain also plays an important role. In fact, studies have shown that children who have growth hormone deficiency have shorter stature. Growth hormone is a hormone that's produced by the pituitary gland in the brain. When growth hormone is deficient, it can cause a variety of problems, including short stature. However, if growth hormone is administered to these children, they will grow to their full genetic potential. In addition to growth hormone, other hormones produced by the brain also play a role in determining your height. These hormones include thyroid hormone and sex hormones. Now you know that there's a lot more to the human brain than meets the eye. It's an incredibly complex and powerful organ that's capable of some truly amazing things. Hopefully this video has given you a new appreciation for the amazing brain that you have. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like below and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.